But what happens if you haven't even received your ballot yet? Well, our Paul Drews reports on some of the problems that people have with making their vote and their voice count. Paul?
Well, early voting has taken off, with hundreds of thousands already casting their ballots. But not everyone has been able to easily get their hands on a ballot this election.
I actually never received it in my mail, so I was wondering where it was. It never came.
Mari Ho and others who came down to Honolulu to fix their ballot issues did receive one before the primary election, but did not get one for this general election.
I just never received it. According to their website, the Office of Elections website, a ballot was generated for me and I should have received it.
There could be a number of reasons why an individual did not get their ballot in the mail. One of them is obviously there may be a delivery issue with the United States Postal Service, or maybe there's a voter registration issue.
Residents on Oahu can still request another ballot by mail until Thursday, but the deadline has passed for those on the neighbor islands, and not everyone wanted to wait for that ballot to arrive by mail.
They said if I don't receive it by a certain date, then they can regenerate a new absentee ballot packet. But I told them because I didn't receive it the first time, I didn't trust that I would get the second one. So I said instead I'll just come down in person to vote.
Election center workers tell me there have been some problems with ballots they've received. In some cases, residents request new ones because they made mistakes marking up their first one, especially when it comes to those questions on the back. But sometimes the problem is people don't mark them up enough.
Make sure you sign it. We can't accept a unsigned mail packet. If you don't sign your envelope, we'll send you a letter and provide you an opportunity to submit a signature to us so we can verify and validate that submission.
So far, about 40% of the ballots issued for Honolulu and Hawaii counties have already been returned. And statewide, early voting in Hawaii has already equaled the total amount of ballots cast in the primary election. Many are voting because they feel this is an important election.
Being able to make my voice count is really important, especially in this election where there's so much at stake, I feel like, especially for women's and our rights. And so I felt like even though I have to go in person and do that extra step, maybe sit in traffic for a little bit, I felt like it was very important to do so.
Because the election is probably the most important election you and I will ever experience.
Now, while ballots have to be received in those drop boxes by 7 p.m. on November 5th, for those unsigned ballots, voters will have 5 days after getting a letter notifying them of the need to verify their ballot, which means some votes could count even days after the election is over. Paul Drews, Island News.